Hello G.I. Joe fans and welcome back to Too Many Topics. Today I kind of have a fun little video here where I'm going to be quickly unboxing and reviewing 5 G.I. Joe classified series figures, which I just realized now with the numbers that I got, we have 1 Joe in the middle and 4 Cobra people here. So this is pretty exciting. I got my cutters here ready to go. I've been building this up for a little while, so I got the Crimson Guard, which was actually the very first G.I. Joe figure I ever pre-ordered back in like April or whenever that went up. And then the other 4, or actually 3 of these 5, I got as Christmas gifts. I got Tomax from my grandma, Sergeant Stalker from my grandma, and Zarana from my sister. And then I bought the Cobra Officer because I saw it in stores slightly after Christmas. Now, my grandma did get me Tomax, but not Zamat. So I do actually have Zamat on the way from Amazon because I couldn't just get one of them, right? So we got number 37, 44, 46, 48, and 50 here. So filling some gaps in the collection here. I know that like I have Crocmaster, which is like number 38, and I have some of the 40s and stuff like that, and I think 50 is the highest one that I have so far. Oh, actually, that's not true. I have the Blue Ninjas, which should actually be a video released maybe before this, or maybe released after this, and that's number 51, so very excited, very excited. I haven't opened up a G.I. Joe figure in a minute since like Dr. Mindbender, which be sure to check out that video if you haven't seen it, and I already have a bunch of other ones actually that are not in this video that I haven't opened yet either, because they're all store exclusive ones from Target that I'm going to take a look at, so look at that. Can we fit everybody in the frame here? So, Officer, Tomax, Stalker, Zarana, Crimson Guard. So, this is cool. All of these figures look really good, too. So, I'm going to move these guys off to the side. And, oh, he's already fallen over. We have, ooh, everybody thinking he's making squeaky noises. Alright, so we're going to start with the Cobra Officer here, which was definitely just sort of an impromptu purchase. But he has a bunch of guns and stuff in there. And I like the blue on here. I know that, like, army builders are pretty abundant in the line, but I also know that they are somewhat kind of harder to get in the line because they are, you know, well, abundant in terms of like how many character selections that there are for army builders, but not so abundant in the stock of them, because people are always trying to army build them, of course. So we have the first one here, which I'm not going to open every single one of them on camera like this, but we'll just go ahead and start. So here he is. Really like that a lot. So once again, the G.I. Joe Classified Series delivers just a fantastic figure with tons of accessories here for number 37, the Cobra Officer. So I'm sure that there's definitely some reused pieces and stuff on him here, but for the most part, this is really nice. I really like these guys a lot. You get good articulation by these kind of getting out of the way. And I like the Cobra symbol there in the silver. Looks really good. Definitely going to have to get some Cobra Officers to go with this guy. Or well, this is a Cobra Officer, Cobra Troopers to go with this guy. Because, you know, I'm assuming as an officer, he kind of leads a little squadron of them or whatever. So I can have this guy kind of commanding some people around my H.I.S.S tank whenever that ships out next year. But let's kind of find out where all of his stuff is going to store. So we do have that helmet. Let's see, that clips on there pretty nicely, actually. So that's really good about G.I. Joe. They don't really do classified, or classified doesn't really do helmet swaps or full-on head swaps. They just kind of do like hair swaps or detachable helmets and stuff like that, which I think is really interesting and actually works quite well. So let's see here. Well, we have a little holster here for his knife, so we can slot that into there. Over here, I'm assuming we can fit the pistol kind of weapon here, like that. And then one of these is going to be able to hold, I'm assuming this is where you kind of store the extra magazine, maybe? This is definitely where you're going to store this thing, I imagine. Which doesn't really want to slot in there. Maybe I'm probably doing it kind of wrong. I know you're going to want to put one of the magazines in the gun, which is very nicely detailed. Really like that. Can you fit both? Or I guess he probably has to hold a gun, and then you can fit this holster back here. It kind of pegs in. It's a pretty long peg. I don't feel like it wants to clip in. Oop, I'm not really showing it very well, but I don't feel like this wants to clip in the absolute best, and I don't really want to like stretch it out. But actually, that's probably going to be for this then. I was trying to fit the bigger rifle in there, and that's not really going to do it, so does that work? Yeah, but yeah, this doesn't really want to peg in very nicely. But then I believe you can store this thing here, and then the extra magazine is going to go in that belt buckle there, and you put the other one there, and so once again, you pretty much get to use all of the weapons that you get with this guy. And that is always one of my biggest pluses with this line. It just makes it super cool that you can pretty much usually store everything either in his hands and all over his body for most of these figures, and I love it. Oh, there he goes. Next up, we have number 44, Tomax, who is not as sophisticated in terms of accessories as the Cobra Officer was, but I really like the look of this guy. So, I've mentioned it in a couple of other G.I. Joe figures, and it's still going to be true here. I know nothing about this character. I know nothing about any of these characters. I just know this guy has a brother who is a mirror version of him, even down to his name, which I have on the way as well. But I really like the design a lot. I love the Cobra logo there and kind of the whole like kind of sash that they have wearing on. The armor looks really neat. It's just a cool looking dude, and like I like the head looks really good. It moves really easily. You have all the skin tone there. He is a pinless figure too, so that's always a nice little bonus. And just like most, ooh, that's a pretty good joint there. Ooh, like that clicks quite well. Like everything feels like it moves pretty smoothly. The quality of the figure. See, I'm so used to like the Bad Lightning Collection figures from the Power Rangers brand that like these just work so much nicer. It's obviously very stiff in some areas. You do have the kind of drop down legs and everything. But yeah, Tomax here is pretty good. Now I'm not going to be able to know the difference once I get Zamat, which one is which. But I know right now I have Tomax and not Zamat, so that's how I'm going to remember, right now at least, but pretty good. Now we do have, he doesn't really want to stand very well though. I kind of have to lean his arms forward a little bit to get him to do so, but once he does, he does. But you do get this kind of nice machine gun there, which looks pretty good. Very similar to kind of ones we have in the line before. I think the Baroness from the Snake Eyes movie has a very similar one. And you get a port that would, I think, be able to use some blast effect pieces, but also can plug in a very tiny little silencer, which always makes me a little nervous with the peg there. And then you can also fit this magazine into there as well to kind of complete the whole look of it. So I do quite like that. Now you do get these very tiny, I'm trying to think, so he doesn't have any holster for his gun or anything like that, which is fine, because you're probably going to have him hold it, but you do get these two daggers, which look really neat, which I do believe they are the exact same thing and don't really want to focus, but there's one of them, and there's the other one, and you do have a sheath for them, one on his leg, and one on his side. Just like so. So Tomax is pretty good and will be even more complete once I get Zamat. Coming in at number 46 is Sergeant Stalker, which I believe is actually from the newest wave, if I'm not mistaken, which I think it's the newest wave, or one of the more recent waves here. But this is finally getting another Joe to my collection, because every figure I've taken a look at recently has been a Cobra member, and I definitely have a very severe lack of Joes in my collection, but this is a really good one. Like, I love all the accessories you get with this one. We're kind of back to having a ton of accessories compared to Tomax, who just didn't really have as many. But I love the different options and stuff you have here. The weapons are really cool. Like, you get this kind of rifle. I don't know guns very well, like, at all. But it looks like some of these pieces are somewhat swappable between all of these. Like, I think you can put the silencer on that. I don't even know if that actually would make any legitimate sense, but it's also probably just a port there, just so you have the option for effect pieces, but you can also swap the little silencer on the pistol, which I think is more of what it's supposed to be for, I think, and you still get a little port there at the end, which I think is a really nice little touch. You might even be able to put it on this one for all I know. Yeah, so it's probably not going to make any sense on some of those, but then you get this magazine here, which I think is supposed to clip into this one. At least that's like the only one that has been able to kind of clip it in there relatively easily. But, you know, some of these pieces you want to be kind of careful with, like, not breaking them. But then you also get this cool one that I think goes in this way, I think, or maybe the other way, to allow you to have kind of a little chain of ammo, there we go, sticking out on the side, which I think looks really, really cool. And it's painted very nicely. So I like all those little options there. And then you do get a little dagger for him as well, a little knife. It's a little different than Tomax's, and then you get kind of this backpack piece here. So let's see, what can we clip into this? So I'm assuming you kind of put the larger rifle in here, or do I always put the wrong gun? I think I always put the wrong gun in these holsters every time I try to use them. That definitely looks better. And then I'm assuming this would clip in. What piece would slide in here? It couldn't be the silencer, right? I mean, maybe that's kind of supposed to work like that, but I know, like, for sure that he has the knife holster, which can go in right there. Oh no, I definitely am trying to put it in the wrong way. There we go. And on the other side you can put the pistol. I really like this guy, just the whole like camo look that he's got going on. I think it's a really good looking design. Good face scan too, or, well, I mean, it's not really a face scan of anybody, but just a nice facial sculpt and everything. I really like that with the mustache. Like, he definitely looks like, I mean, most Joes look like some kind of army guy, obviously, but this guy really looks like a typical army guy, in my opinion, with the camo and everything, and I really do like it. It's just a kind of a cool, unique little figure there. And then, let's see, I believe you can just put this over the head. I don't think you have to like take the head off the joint or anything like that. But you kind of have this sort of poncho thing there. And you can also put on his cap. And then you can go ahead and start storing stuff onto his back, which works pretty well. And then this guy is ready to fight. So really, really like Sergeant Stalker. Definitely one of my favorite ones of this patch that I've gotten here today. Just really, really cool one. And definitely high up there in the ones that I have in my collection in general. Speaking of some really cool figures, at number 48 we have Zarana here, back to the Cobra side. Lots of really cool things and little pieces here that I really like about her figure. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and start with the swappable hair, because that is just so cool. Like, I love this hair that you get. I forget which one actually came out of the box, because when I took it out, it immediately kind of popped off. But it's just kind of like this rubbery hair that you can swap there, which is just really, really nice. I love that kind of gradient with the sort of fire effect we have going on there. Really, really cool. And then, of course, if you don't want that look, you can have a different look for her, which I think maybe... Which way is that supposed to go? I think it's supposed to go... Oh, I'm trying to put it on wrong, aren't I? There we go. Kind of get the hair a little bit over her ears there. So it's a little bit of a different look. I definitely prefer the other head sculpt or the other hair sculpt. I just think it looks cooler. So we're gonna go with that one because I do like this better. But this is good. This is a really good figure. You have double jointed elbows and everything on here, which is rare kind of for Hasbro 6-inch figures. Good articulation and the good design. I love the little cuffs on the cowboy boots kind of thing she has going on here. Really, really cool figure. Love the paint detailing. Love the sculpt on this one. It just works very well. And accessories wise, she also comes with a lot of really nice things, like the hair, like we took a look at. Nope, she's trying to fall. Come on. Good. All right. And then we have a dagger here, which I like how like every time we get a dagger, it's a different kind of dagger. Like, that's just a really cool little detail there. You have such a wide arsenal of not reused pieces, which is really incredible. This is one of my favorite blades we've had in the whole line here as well. I love that gradient on the red. That just looks really, really cool. And this gun, like, I love this saw up here. It doesn't move or anything like that, but that is freaking cool. And then you have this magazine, which it did get quite warped in the box, this entire gun. But you can take the magazine. I think I always clip them in upside down. I never know, like, which way is the better way to do so. There's that right? I don't know, something like that. So you can clip that in there. And then she does have a backpack, which of course offers some storage, which I believe... How does this one work? Because, like, she has... Maybe she doesn't have storage for everything. Because this will definitely fit the blade, the tinier one here. So we'll store that in there. And then this is actually probably for this. Yeah, that's definitely for that. And it doesn't look like we have any particular like area to store that, and then we can just of course have one of the typical pegs back there, which every time it's like they don't really want to line up the pegs very well. So I feel like most of these backpacks, it's a little tricky to actually get the port to go in there, and then you feel like you're going to bend the port on it, or you're going to warp it or something. So it's definitely always a little tricky to get them to work. But eventually you can do so here. So, oh, and there goes the knife kind of falling out. But yeah, Zarana is another very good one that I quite like. I really do like that blade on her back. I think that just looks really cool. And those boots are kind of not sharp, but you know, they have a little bit of a point to them with the little stars at the end. If I can get her to stand in kind of a little bit more of a dynamic pose. But there we go. There is Zarana. And finally for today, the first G.I. Joe figure I pre-ordered ever, the Crimson Guard at number 50. Wow. Just wow. Like, first of all, the main reason why I pre-ordered this one, not only because of just the sheer amount of accessories you get, I love the design of these guys. Like, the second I saw, which, oh wow, that's not focusing at all, but the second that I saw the Crimson Guards, I was like, you know what? Those guys look like Imperial Guards from Star Wars, basically. And I really like this. Like, this is so cool. I love, like, all the badges and stuff they got there. The Cobra symbol looks really cool. The whole helmet is just really neat. Kind of has like a sort of almost like a robotic look to it almost, but like this is just a nice slick figure. But it's also kind of barren because you have all the stuff to clip onto him. But like, yeah, this guy is sweet. Really, really do like this design. I'm also kind of biased because like red, black, and silver are some of my favorite colors. So like that's obviously going to make me really like this kind of figure. But you get so many things. Like, first of all, I love his sword. His sword is really, really nice, and you get a whole sheath for it here as well. Which every time, I always put this, all swords and stuff in there always backwards. But that clips in very nicely, and I believe you can clip that into the side of this backpack. We'll kind of just slowly start building up this giant backpack here. Then you have this gun with a bayonet at the end of it, which is freaking awesome. Love that. Very, very cool. And then, of course, you can attach the included magazine to that, which I may have done backwards. There we go. So there is that. And let's see, I believe that can clip in here, just like so. And then we have the backpack, and we can go back here. He doesn't really have anything in the way of that port, so it's going to be very easy to clip it in there for him. And then you can take his knife, which is also very nicely detailed and sculpted. Let's try to focus that real quick. There we go. And we'll sheath that. And then you have his pistol, which just goes on his leg there. And he's fully decked out, but like, you get so many good accessories with him, so many good weapons with the Crimson Guard. I really, 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 really like this figure quite a bit, and he's easily my favorite of today. And with that, that's going to do it for today's lineup of my G.I. Joe Classified Series haul of the Cobra Officer, Tomax, Sergeant Stalker, Zarana, and the Crimson Guard. So really, really like this lot. We got a Joe for the collection now. We got 2 more kind of Cobra henchmen, I guess, and then 2 Cobra troop builder figures. All of these are fantastic. I love every single one of these. I'm very excited to add all of them to my G.I. Joe Classified collection. And of course, until next time, be sure to subscribe and like and everything, comments, all that stuff for more G.I. Joe Classified Series videos here on the channel. I'm not really going to be doing like proper reviews, quote unquote, just kind of these sort of hauls and kind of reviews of maybe some of them sometimes, that kind of thing. But I'm just trying to kind of slowly build up my collection, slowly get closer and closer to completion on all this stuff. And these figures are just really, really impressive. So let me know down in the comments below, which G.I. Joe Classified Series figures do you have? Are you looking for your collection? Anything down in the comments below, I want to read it. And until next time, you guys can follow me on Twitter at LiveRentryKey or LightningFigPR, and I'll see you all next time. Yo, Joe!